While I have all of the tools necessary to get this project done in probably less than a week, I'm choosing to use the 13th century methods as much as I possibly can. See that girl? Yeah, that's me. Actually, this is more appropriate. I'm a Scorpio that apparently likes to make things unnecessarily complicated for myself. This video is sponsored by why do I insist on trying to make things by hand when I have perfectly good 21st century electricity? But more on that in a bit. Hi, I'm Kayla with McNerdy Costumes and Props, and welcome back. Today we're moving on with renovating my sewing room into a medieval castle / actual functional workspace. At least that's what I'm telling myself. If you're interested in checking out part 1, where I go over the details behind the painting and my inspiration from Guedelon Castle, link is down below. But we've got a lot of material to cover in this one, so let's just get right to it. Since Guedelon was constructed using 13th century methods, I thought it only appropriate to employ those same methods for the shelving. So I had a lovely friend get a hold of me and tell me about some scrap wood and everything. He wishes not to be named, but you know who you are. Thank you so much for helping me locate this scrap wood and stuff that was just gonna get burned and thrown away. And I'm all about that. It's gonna be a little work getting some of the nails and stuff out of it, but hooray! So I think the first thing I'm gonna do is start off in this back corner over here so I can work my way this way and then this way. That way I have a base just to kind of make sure everything lines up appropriately to start with. So let's get started. I will be using 13th century joinery methods. That being said, I also know that this is the 21st century and safety is important. So I will be screwing the backboards into the studs of the wall just so there's no chance of it tipping over. Surprisingly, 13th century joinery methods aren't too much different from what we use today. So I will be using mortise and tenon and lat joints, which they used back then. But I will be chiseling those out with hand chisels, and I'll be attempting to use this saw as much as, oh geez, probably don't wave that in my face. And I'll be attempting to use this as much as possible. This is a Japanese pole saw from what I hear. This is gonna be the best way to achieve what I'm looking for as far as cutting methods. I've allotted myself 3 weeks to get the woodworking portion of this done, which, let's face it, is a laughable amount of time. There's no way, but I'm gonna make every effort to do that. So while I have a table saw, while I have a router, while I have all of the tools necessary to get this project done in probably less than a week, I'm choosing to use the 13th century methods as much as I possibly can. And for me, that's probably a good idea because there's less chance of me cutting my finger off. So I started out by getting the measurements I needed. I'm using 2x4s for the vertical structural posts and 1x4s for the horizontal pieces. Aw, I don't get to say like a glove. Here I'm sawing out my lat joints, and as displayed, I really need a moxon vise to clamp my boards in because the leg of my work table is not ideal. Once I make my saw cuts, I clean up the lines with my chisel, making sure that they're square. Though I said I was going to use mortise and tenon joints, I decided not to. Mortise and tenon joints would be a little bit troublesome to do by hand unless I was doing through mortise and tenon joints, but that sounds like a lot of extra places for me to bang my ankles and knees on. Here I'm chiseling out the notches for the boards supporting the shelving. Each of these needs to be meticulously measured and chiseled to be level all the way around a floor and walls that aren't level. It was super fun. Clearly my elbow is more important than the chiseling for you to look at. And I guess you don't need to see me using the hand drill to remove most of the bulk either. Anyway, just dig it all out and clean it up, making sure the adjoining board fits. Okay, I got that all up, leveled it out, and it's looking pretty good. So, one down. I don't even know how many more to go. Oh yay, the ceiling is slightly shorter here. That's real helpful. So to make myself feel a little bit better about feeling like I was cheating the system by using screws, I used my hand drill to pilot out the holes and screw the backboards into the wall. I'm also using the hand drill to pilot out the holes for the dowel pegs. Traditionally, using wooden pegs was much more cost-efficient and more easily attainable to the medieval builder, as opposed to commissioning a blacksmith for iron nails. Also, public service announcement, don't use an old chewed-up bit for this because it takes a while. Usually the dowels would be glued in, but the cold February climate and indoor poorly ventilated location made the historical gluing methods impractical. I chose instead to drill the holes slightly smaller than the dowel rods for a snug fit, and I am super impressed with the result. These dowel pegs are what is holding the entire shelving system together, and I made approximately 10 billion buttloads of these. I had to cheat a little here because the drill wouldn't rotate, so I had to flex my 21st century on this bad boy for a hot second. Damn, I really need to stop drinking when I write voiceover scripts. Alright, so here is the progress from last night. I got all those, well, most of those pegged in, and now I just need to work on the runners here. Yeah, I ran out of screws because these 2-inch ones will go in just fine, but right behind here is the cinder block of the basement wall. So when I put those really long ones in there, they just stick out like an inch and wouldn't go in any further. So now I need to go get some more of those and keep going. Okay, here is the progress so far. It's going well. All right, I started layering on these pieces to become the tops of the shelves, but as I'm continually running out of wood, it's become a problem. And in order to give myself a bigger workspace, I decided to get a jump start on the big sewing table that I plan on putting in the middle of this room. And there's a couple of problems with that. So as you can see, it doesn't quite line up on this side over here. So I collected these 1x12s. I thought they were actually 12 inches across, but they're not. They're about 3/4 of an inch too short on each one. So I'm missing a little bit on that side. But before I can do that and plane the table and make it all pretty, I've got to remove all these staples that have unfortunately been put through these boards because I don't think my planer would like that very much. Oh my god, y'all. Okay. It's reached that point. The point in every video that I do where I'm like, what was I thinking? I've reached the point where it's become impractical to continue to use the hand tools. The drill in particular, my hands look like a mummy with all the band-aids because of the blisters that I am getting from using that thing constantly. I've also run out of wood, which presents a massive problem. And while I'm still currently on track with my timing and how soon I need this finished, I'm worried that if I continue the way that I'm going, I will not have enough time at the end. So I'm gonna do my best to still keep this as historically minded as possible. I will make sure that anything that's shown or anything that people see will be done properly, and I'm still going to be pegging everything. Let me rephrase that. I'm still going to be putting wooden pegs in instead of using screws on the outer boards. And I'm still going to be chiseling out my lap joints. But to save myself some time and to save myself some heartache and frustration and blisters, I think it's important to know when to say enough is enough, and that practicality kind of overshadows the desire to make this as accurate as I possibly can. Because of the type of material I'm using and for many other reasons. I hate this because I feel like I'm cheating. I really do, but it'll all work out okay. I think it will. And it's gonna look great when it's finished. Well, we put this in, but for some reason, I didn't turn on the camera like an idiot. So, thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Josh, for helping me lift this thing into place. So, oh my God, it's not moving.
It's got some give to it. Like, I'm pretty sure it'll split.
Usually the boards they use are thinner than that.
Take the glasses off and do it. And it's already split.
Ah, see? I'm just doing bare hands. Pass out.
I told you.
Like I said, I could have done it. That's how it Yeah, that's why on this one I was like, no.
So I decided here to seal the cracks between the table with a combination of hot glue and painter's tape so I could pour the resin into the cracks and completely sand the table smooth on top. This turned out to be a terrible idea. I used a resin that cures white instead of clear for quick curing. And since I lacked a black resin tinting pigment, I used activated charcoal instead. This might have worked in the clear resin, but being that it was white, it cured a weird grayish blue, which was not at all ideal. It also leaked all over from my improper sealing, and I had to chip a bunch of resin off the floor and out of the seam lines and start over. So don't be like me. Don't do this. I attempted first to smooth it out with my hand plane, but I'm not sure if I missed a staple or the resin was just too rough on my planer, but it ended up chipping the blade. This started to leave giant drag lines on the table, and at this point I was still waiting for my sharpening kit to arrive, so I had to put that aside for a bit. A lot of this project was waiting for more wood as I continually kept running out. But I was already over budget and very unwilling to purchase more wood than I already had. Oh my God. Okay. See up there? That's what they're supposed to look like. Not like this, because there is a nice little sideways slant going on. Oh, I mismeasured somewhere and I'm just, I don't want to do this again. It takes so long to chisel those out. Why do I hate myself? Why do I do these things? Why does past Kayla hate future Kayla? So I was bouncing back and forth between adding the new wood coming in and slowly chipping away at the pools of resin on the table while I was waiting. And before we continue, a quick word from our sponsors. All right, so I called this meeting so we could have a conversation. I feel like there's a lot of tension between everyone, and we should really talk about the elephant in the room. Look, man, I'm used to you blowing me off. That's just kind of who you are as a person, but what happened over here with your budget? Look, we've already had this conversation. Budget and I have talked, and we agreed that this was nobody's fault, that things just happened, right, Budget? Look, I know you just got that new full-time job and everything, and it's keeping you real busy. What the hell? Those are mine. And yes, that's why things have been taking a little longer than expected. Could have used modern tools to speed things up a bit, but guess not. Come on, you know I can't do that. 13th century methods. Whatever, man. You really need to get your act together. So let me get this straight. You blew off your budget and your schedule, and for what? Some YouTube video? This is really important to me, okay? Have you considered, like, a different view? Have you thought about the fact that maybe you're the literal worst? You suck and everyone hates you. No, that's not realistic. The comment section is gonna be insane. They're just gonna be all telling you it's not historically accurate anyway. The joinery methods are historically accurate. The rest is inspiration. Okay? And what if they fall down? Like, what if the whole thing just collapses on your head? They're not gonna fall down, okay? What if you get canceled? Oh my God, nobody is going to cancel me. She's absolutely right. She's not gonna get canceled. People actually have to watch the videos for you to get canceled. Oh, damn, that's cold. I've got some really awesome plans for the year. Can you just, like, see it? You can't post only once a month and expect people to actually watch. They will. It's about quality, not quantity. That's debatable. Man, I think you really need to look inside yourself and, like, figure things out. No, I'm pretty sure I'm fine. Yeah, because the only one we haven't heard from is procrastination over there. What's that? Oh my God, I got a headache. Well, you got work to do, so, I'm gonna bounce. Wait, we've got to figure this out. See you next month. What? Anyone else? Yeah, hand me that bag of chips. All right, we are finished with the framing. I do need to put the tops on the shelves yet still, but fun news, my tiles have arrived today for the flooring. These are just the linoleum stick-on tiles, which it's fine. Nobody's really gonna be looking too much at the floor anyway, so I decided not to opt for more expensive flooring. So, saved a little money in that area, and before I lay these down, there's something that I want to do first. So for those of you that haven't seen the TV show Supernatural, this is a demon trap. I wanted to include this underneath the flooring of a room. Basically, how it works is if a demon were to walk into the room, they would be stuck within the circle and unable to leave the circle unless it were broken. It's a fun nod to the show, and no one will ever know it's there, except for all of you, and the very confused people who will own this house after us, wondering what sort of devil-worshipping shenanigans were going on in this weird-ass room. When the project becomes frustrating, it's important to find creative solutions. Otherwise, all you would see is an entire video of things like this. Ow! 21st century air compression wins. Luckily, I bought the last can of a discontinued stain color and had to hunt online for an overpriced replacement, and then wait a couple of weeks for it to come in. Fun times. Is this historically correct? No. Is it badass anyway? Absolutely. I didn't film as much of the Apothecary cabinet as I wanted to, since there was a lot of finagling and piecing that went into how the cabinet doors actually open. I was using as many scraps as I possibly could, but essentially, the cabinet doors open on wheels to reveal the closet behind. In true what the hell was I thinking fashion, I decided that I needed 72 little drawers in it. Because I was using as many scraps as I could, the sides and back aren't always the height they need to be, but the fronts all match up, so it doesn't really matter. So I get some critiques sometimes. I know that there's going to be people that say I should probably spread this glue out. But then I also get critiques saying that I should not be touching the wood glue with my bare hands and blah 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 and how unsafe it is. It says non-toxic right on the bottle, so you know what? So we'll just please you by meeting halfway, okay? You know? There you go. I'll also be releasing a separate video on the super secret sliding bookcase door that would make 10-year-old me very proud. I have further plans for the Apothecary cabinet, so the holes and uneven points will be covered up in the future. Once the staining was finished, I covered everything in a layer of clear polyurethane and let that dry for 48 hours before organizing. Since literally no one wants to see that train wreck, let's get on to the final reveal. But before that happens, I wanted to say something. Today is Beltane, or May Day, and I wanted to get into the spirit of what this day is about. I wouldn't be where I am if I hadn't held on to the good moments. There were so many times that I wanted to just give up on this project. I wanted to take the easy way out and just close the door and pretend like the problems didn't exist. But then I thought about all of the good things. Josh and Stefan, who've been such an amazing support system during the last 3 months. I couldn't have done any of this without their input and love. My friends on CosTube, who've watched every board go in as I vented to them in the late night video chats. I would have never taken this project on or even had the will to finish it without all of the support and encouragement from them to keep going. The world is a complete mess right now, and it's so easy to just give up and hide when things get hard. But it's so important to remember the good things that happen too. Sometimes those good things get buried under the weight of reality and stress and anger. It can be so hard to see the light through all of that darkness. But the seasons change whether we want them to or not. Have faith that the long winter will end and that the buds of spring will appear and create things bigger and more beautiful than ever before. Beltane is about hope, a fresh start and new beginnings, looking forward to the future and the good things to come. I planted my garden and spent hours in the sunshine, feeling the earth in my hands. I took a long lunch at work so I could look for morel mushrooms. I didn't end up finding any, but I just sat and listened to the animals in the woods and the sound of the wind breathing in the scent of the rain. I decorated a maypole alone, but I enjoyed dancing around it all the same. I jumped over a broomstick to carry on the Beltane tradition of sweeping out the negativity and dirt in my mind for a fresh start. I wanted to remember the little things and every experience that I've had in this journey that has led me to this one extraordinary moment. This renovation for me is a new beginning. This is a room that I can feel inspired and happy in, that I can use to create so many more beautiful things. And without further ado, here it is. And here it is. I'm so happy with this room. I feel so inspired being in here. I finally have a place where I can do my voiceovers, where I'm not gonna get interrupted by animals every 3 seconds, and just a place that's perfect for me. I do have a few things that I want to continue to add to. For example, this Apothecary cabinet here, this will eventually be the Doors of Durin. And I've got my table over here that I need to get some sort of storage situation worked out underneath there, but, you know, running out of wood. And to the anonymous coffee donor, thank you so much. Your donation was so generous and just absolutely unexpected, so thank you. It really helped me out so much. And thank you so much to my patrons. Your guys' support it means the world to me. And so I will be adding your names here along all of these drawers so that you'll be able to see them in every video. Now, nobody else will know what they mean, but I will. I'll know that, you know, this name contains pins or something. I haven't decided quite what I'm going to be storing in all of these, probably buttons. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart to my patrons and my coffee donors and everyone that just leaves comments on these videos and enjoys watching them, because your support, misty-eyed. I'm not crying, you're crying. Thank you. I'm so grateful and so happy with how this has gone. I have so many plans for the future, and I can't wait to start doing things in this gorgeous and beautiful room. So now I'm going to have my customary glass of whiskey while I read the comment question of the day. So today's comment question of the day is, what is the best project you've ever done? This is definitely top 5 for me. I am so happy with the way this turned out. So I want to see your guys' work too. Tag me on Instagram. I'm at McNerdy Cosplay. I'll leave a link. Whatever, I'm just gonna keep drinking. I think it would be really cool to like get some photos of other people's work and stuff, and I think it's important to spread the love. I think people sometimes need a pat on the back for the amazing work that they do, and I can't wait to see what other submissions. Last week's comment question of the day is, what is the most thing you've ever done for a project? All right, so I've got my list of comments here, and this first one is from Daisy Victoria. She said that she would leave seams secretly unfinished just to see what she could get away with and what people would notice. She also says, this is underwear, nobody's gonna see it anyway. I don't know that I've ever left my seams unfinished in the hopes that people will notice, but I've definitely never pinned a hem up with staples just for the reveal of a video so it could be done. I've never ever done that. And this one is from Your Sewing Buddy, who says, one time I was making a bodice for my dryad character, but something went wrong with the tension, and instead of redoing it, I covered the problem with fake flowers and called it good. Yeah, I think that's half of why my projects are as decorated as they are, because I'm using the decorations to cover up my sins. So, here's to you. And this last one comes from History with Character, who says, my McCree costume was quite literally held together with buckles, tape, and prayers. Con crunch is a thing. Yeah, con crunch is totally a thing. I remember sitting in hotel rooms stitching and sewing and gluing and fixing things in the hotel room at the con that I was supposed to be wearing the costume to in like an hour. So I feel ya. Hopefully there's more events to go to this upcoming summer. I know I'm really looking forward to it, so. But Medieval May is here, and I am so excited to be working on my next project, which will be sometime this month. I'm not entirely certain. Some things never change. If you remember Daisy Victoria's visit from the painting video, she helped me draft a kirtle for myself from the 14th century, and I can't wait to show you guys how that's going. So if you want to see what other crazy shenanigans I get into, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you soon.